today I'm doing the Box Hill hike. I've filmed doing this hike loads of times, but I've never edited it into anything I've uploaded. I was going to say it's a bit of a grey day, but actually the sun has come out and there's a tiny bit of blue sky over there. Yeah, look. And what we're seeing behind me there, I think, is, yeah, over that bit there, is Denby's Vineyard, which is a really lovely vineyard in the Surrey Hills, and they do some amazing wines. And yeah, this is a very, very good training hike. It's about 7 miles and it is almost 2,000 feet of elevation, so we did this 2 or 3 times a week before we did the Cape Wrath Trail last year, increasing our pack weight as the weeks went on. And yeah, just to come out today because I haven't done anything fitness wise for a while, and it's been very busy since we got back from Costa Rica, and just needed a bit of solitude for my mental health and a bit of outdoors. So you come along this path behind me from the car park, being prepared for it being quite muddy because it's been very rainy over the last few weeks, and then it becomes quite hilly. We're going to hit a big downhill and then a big uphill, but there's a very cool tower here and it looks down onto can't remember the name of it, but some outdoorsy school thing. I'll put the name of it here. But yeah, look at this tower, and then down there you can see the school that I was telling you about. I'll look up the name properly. And the hike is trail marked all the way with this little red arrow. There's another trail there, Happy Valley, and we're going through the woods now. We've been coming downhill a bit so far through that gate, and we're going to carry on going downhill. There's some steep steps in a minute, and these hills over there include Juniper Hill, which is also a trail that you can do, and you can do it as a circuit, but I'm doing the Box Hill hike today. I've got my poles out now and just going to use them to make sure I don't slip on these slippy, muddy steps that are going to get very steep in a moment. We're about halfway down. I love the view here, it's so pretty. At the bottom of these steps and this hill, we take a left. Here's the trail marking. We're going this way, and Happy Valley Trail is up that way. I've had to delayer now because it's really quite warm, and I think it's because it's so sheltered. Coming up is I think the most challenging climb. Not challenging, but you know, you've got to use quite a lot of exertion, and you get very hot and sweaty. So yeah, down to my base layer and hoodie. Here's a trail marker for the Juniper Top Trail. I would have thought it was up there, but maybe they want you to go around the corner and up. Here we are, here's the map. So there's the car park and there's Lodge Hill, that's where the tower was, and it's the Juniper Hall Field Study Centre that we saw. And yeah, here's the Juniper Top here. So yeah, that trail was obviously a marker for if you're coming down off it, I think. Anyway, we're going this way. Sometimes I miss this bit down to Mickleham, but I'm going to do the whole thing today. Right, we're just about to go up this very steep bit. Just about got my breath back after that big climb. My heart rate's gradually going back to normal. There's a lovely view coming up, and there's a bench. Don't know if I'll have a break yet, but yeah, good to know. And here's that bench with this beautiful view. This is quite a nice descent down into Mickleham, and it's not quite as muddy as I was expecting. I was expecting it to be much more slippy and slidey, and in fact actually when it's dry and it's gravelly it's more slippy, but yeah, just taking it carefully. But yeah, it's a very enjoyable downhill walk. Then as it levels out a bit, you come along next to these luscious looking fields, and we're going to go over a stile and then turn right into the churchyard, and just beginning to see buildings from Mickleham village now. There's beautiful snowdrops out, and I can see loads of crocuses over there. Don't know, able to zoom in and see them lovely purple carpet. Then we go through this footpath and along by some Shetland ponies and some beautiful raised vegetable beds. We've just gone past the King William IV pub, and now we're in for another long exertive pull up. This is a little bit mystifying. There are 2 car wrecks here. How on earth did they even get here? There's no road that I can see, and that would not be wide enough to get a car down. So what on earth happened here? Comment below if you know. That's the end of that uphill bit, and just coming through the woods, there's the next trail marker up to Mickleham Downs, which is amazing, you'll see. I've just come up this path here, but if you take the shortcut you come out there, and this is the Downs. Look how magnificent that is. I think Ben's taken some drone footage of us walking this before. There's a bench here, I might have a quick drink, but it's not my favourite stop. It's not my favourite point to stop at. I can't talk. I've got a lovely place that I love stopping at after you go across the downs and then down and then up, and there's a lovely little valley, so we'll stop there, but I'm just gonna have a quick drink. Didn't quite get the camera out in time to catch those horses galloping along there. It was really magnificent. And here we are at the end. It is a bit of a grey day, but it is still very beautiful stretch here. And yeah, there is a bridle way there, and horses come up and have a good old canter. Now we're going along here, very muddy, and then we're going to turn right. We've just been coming through the woods here, but we are coming to a very steep and treacherous downhill bit here that I'm going to have to be very careful on. And then there's a bit of a pull up, and then down into a little valley and up onto my favourite bench. So that will take about another 5 or 10 minutes. Then we can have some lunch because it's 2 o'clock already and I'm feeling it. Made it safely to the bottom, and now we're going to cross this road here and over to the other side, and then it's up for a little bit, but it's not too bad. We're at the top of this climb now, and there's so much bird song. I can't believe it. I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but it's amazing. Of course, you can hear the road roaring in the background. That's Surrey Hills for you. So that's a sign for the High Ashurst outward bound stuff going on, and you can loop around that way if you want to go back by Juniper Hill, but we're going to go this way. It's coming down, and then over here you can see the bench that I'm heading for, and on the hill, I don't know if I can zoom in, but there are some cattle. Now I can't zoom in, maybe it's because it's on the back camera. And the National Trust have the sort of kind of heritage ancient breed of cattle that graze on their different bits of land. That's them up there. Yeah, I can zoom in with the front camera. And they're sort of saddleback. I'm sure I've got some other footage that I took another time of those cattle much more close up, if I can trawl through all my footage. I'm sitting on my favourite bench and the view is amazing. It's this beautiful little valley, and the other side you can see where those cattle were. There's a path up there. I think they're in the trees now, somewhere there. I haven't really got a very nutritious lunch. I've got a plum, an apple and some oatcakes. Didn't even bring any cheese or anything. And my water's got electrolytes in it, and it's hot water as well. And then if I zoom in there, you can probably see those cattle in the trees. Came through the gate, come down the path, and then up this little hill here. To me, this feels like a thin place. If you know about thin places, just feels very special at this point. That was a nice little break. I've come up the hill from that bench now, and we're about to cross the edge of Headley Heath, and quite soon, in a few weeks' time, this will be covered in bluebells. I might have some footage of it being covered in bluebells, so I've done, as I said, so much footage of this walk before but just never edited it in. This bit has been super muddy, and we're just about to go through some more mud, and we're going to turn right down that way. On my last little video of me walking around Alegria village on a little hike, I was kind of sharing my thoughts and what I've been going through my mind, but I'm not having any thoughts on this walk. And that's kind of the point. I remember once, and I'm sure I've said this on the vlog before, I'd taken my dad to Scotland, and we were up Cairngorm. We'd gone up in the funicular railway, and we were having lunch, and he was telling me about this time he'd been up Cairngorm, and there was like a deer had gone running across, and he was sitting having a snack, and then a hare came along and sat for a bit and then went off. And I said to him, yeah, it must have been really great to be able to get away and, you know, think about things and think about life. And he looked at me and he said, oh no, you don't think, that's the point. And I thought, yeah, my dad was into mindfulness before it was a thing, and that's what I usually find with this hike. It's just a good kind of reset. You're so busy focusing on where you're walking, the sounds around you, what you can see, that it is a complete reboot, and that's what I'm enjoying. Here's a bit of info about Headley Heath, and that's those saddleback cattle. And we've just come across this path on the edge here, and now we're here. So yeah, it's a nice big heath. And now we're about to go through a sort of residential bit. It's not really my favourite, but then we come out onto Box Hill, and we go down a little bit, and then, well no, we go right down to the bottom actually, do we? Not quite. Go up some steep steps, yeah, we go down a bit, up some steep steps, and then down to the bottom, and then diagonally up. So yeah, still a bit to go, probably another 45 minutes. We're nearly through this residential road now. There are some quite nice properties, but it just doesn't feel right to be going on a hike through houses. Right, that's the end. I'm going to cross the road and then go through a proper footpath. The first little bit goes by a sort of trailer park with these kind of, not exactly mobile homes, but chalet things. And then we'll be going down. We're coming down this path, and we're now joining the North Downs Way. So if you came up that way, you would then follow that path, but we've come down that path to go on the North Downs Way, and this is where we're joining it. This is quite a nice little bit, although it's very muddy. And then when we get a bit further down, going to go up some steep steps, then I'm kind of debating whether to do the long road down and then the steep bit up across Box Hill, or once we get to the top of the steps there's an alternative route on the North Downs Way which just kind of steadily goes up to the top of Box Hill. And so I'm feeling a bit tired out and I think I've been doing it quite slowly. I might do that. I don't know if it saves that much time, but that's what I'm feeling. We've finished coming down this bit and now we're about to turn right up these steps here. There seems to be a detour. They've made a path going up this way. So not so steep. And you can see why they've created this detour. These steps here have disintegrated completely. It's just a mudslide. So yeah, so we're going around another zigzag and then we'll come out at the same bit as the stairs used to. I've decided I'm going to do the proper route, show you what it's like properly. So that's the new path on the North Downs Way, and we would have gone up that way if we'd done the shortcut, but it hasn't actually saved much time and the views are much better this way, so let's go the normal route. I think that's Brockham down there, and in the very distant horizon I think that's a Shunktonbury Ring, but we're going to carry on down here. This is one of my favourite bits, just walking along the path but getting a view upwards on Box Hill. You can't really see much that way because there's so much undergrowth, apart from that little clearing that we looked at Brockham through earlier. But yeah, this is very beautiful and oddie, of course. Yeah, this way is a lot more open. You can see, we can still see Box Hill as we're walking down. And the other route, the North Downs Way, just goes through thick woods, so you're kind of in darkness and woods really. So yeah, and it doesn't take much longer, this doing the full length. I think it's about 5 minutes difference, so what's the point? What's the point of going through dark woods instead of this lovely view? We're about to go left here. This is extremely muddy. Hopefully the footpath won't be quite so muddy. It can get very narrow, especially when it gets a bit overgrown. I'm going to get my poles out just in case I slip. But yeah, could go down there. We've just come down that path and now we're going right up here, and this is the beginning of the last pull up. I don't know if I've got the strength, but I'm sure I have, but it feels like this has been a long one. I think it's just because I've been very strolly, just enjoying the walk, but it means it takes longer. We're on our way up. There's the vineyard, and then that building there used to be Sun Life Assurance, and they used to run the Watermill Jazz Club from there. It was originally, this is Dorking, in the Watermill pub, which I think might be that pink one. I don't know where they have the Watermill Jazz Club now. Somewhere around here. They always have top jazz musicians playing at it. And then I think that's St Martha's Hill up there. I've done a few walks up there as well. Right, let's crack on. I can't believe this walk has taken me 4 hours. Never takes me 4 hours. I need to look back on my all trails where I've actually recorded my walk. I think it's like less than 3 normally. That's crazy. Okay, done. Cannot believe it's taken me 4 hours to do this hike. That's just ridiculous. Just in time as well, because the rain has just come on. So this hike is literally 25 minutes drive from where we live. So yeah, it's so handy and just a very good training hike. And I obviously need to do a bit more training. So I don't know how long I would have taken if I'd been really kind of purposeful and treated it like a sports exercise, but I was just out for a strolly walk today and it took me 4 hours. So yeah, comment below if you've got some interesting walks near you, or if you've done a Box Hill hike, or if you want to know any more about it. I'm going to go home and have a hot bath now. See you next time.